Well, it's lights, camera, shut the door, dog wants to come in. Let dog in, shut door, camera action. Yes, well, what we got here? Well, nice to see someone use some bubble wrap in quantities that might actually do the work they're supposed to do. Oh dear, and we've got lots of separately wrapped items, which is good. Not good for the video aspect, but we have 2 lots from the same seller. So I will come back shortly with my wares. Wow, my hands are shaking because I don't know whether you can see the detritus there. A few needed some persuasion. So what we have in the first lot was a pile of weathering and washers. Cost me £21. Mostly full, completely full almost. They've all been opened and used. And they have those stupid anti-tamper tops on them like medicine bottles have, except this one, because the real good tip I can give anyone is when you use these, wipe the bloody bottle tops and threads and don't put it all over, and that way they won't glue next time you've gone to use them, which is why my hands are trembling, because I had to wrap the bubble wrap round at least 3 of them, and several attempts to get them to free off. So I've cleaned all the threads out as best I can. I mean, you can see that one's right full. They do need stirring. They obviously haven't been used in donkeys. They're solidified. I presume they smell like they've got the enamel thinners in them, the same as the paints, which is probably all they are. It's just really thin down paint, isn't it? The only one that's a bit is that one, dust wash. There's no actual wash left in. The pigment's still there, but they seem to have lost the idea. You can see that one, the pigment stuck to the bottom of the bottle, but you've still got some of it that's colouring the fluid. So they've obviously used the fluid up and not, so I'll have to see if I've got any enamel thinners. Maybe I can decant a little bit in there and revive that. But even so, I think there was a price on one, £4 each. So for £21 we've got 6 of the paints, washers, and weathering powders. We have 7. Now these are over £4 each, and having looked at them, well, we've got Dark Earth. There's a little bit used there, it's about level with the label. They are pretty much, when you get them full to the brim. Surprisingly, the white's been used, not as much. And the rust, that's about the lowest one. Chrome oxide, that's near enough full. They have got these little caps in them, which is quite a good idea. But again, that's fairly, none of them are what I'd say short-changed. You know, there's they're pretty much, that one's up to the neck of the bottle, which most of them are about half and half. They're either like that or they're down a little bit. So again, £10 each half really isn't too bad. That's the price of like 3 of them. So that weren't too bad. I did win it. And I've got weathering crap. and paint residue everywhere from trying to clean these bottle tops. So the other listing the guy had was for block signalling electronic items. I just happened to them by chance. They did go a bit more than I would have liked, but I think they're £39 a unit, but you do get a bunch of LEDs with them now where you didn't used to. But I think this on its own is £29 new. So, and these are points position indicators, which I think Gary at Cheeky Tech, doubtfully he's watching me, but we did have a natter about this at Getz, because like him, I'm going to use analog system of changing the points. The problem being, if you want to use LEDs to indicate the position of the point as a visual indicator, because you're obviously out of eyesight, the only sort of old school way of doing it was to put micro switches on the point turnout motor, and then obviously have two wires running back and a common, so that you could identify which side the point motor had turned to. With this you can wire out of the solenoid from the switch, and it will indicate which way you've swung the point turnout, and it remembers it even when you've powered down the system. So when you power back up the system, it will still give an indication of which position the turnout is still set at. So I got two of these to try. I think I have who's the other company? Train Tech, I think possibly. I have their equivalent to it, I think. So I'm going to see how I get on with them. Obviously this is going to be down to the build time, so you know, if any more turn up along the way, sort of thing, at a reasonable price. So we'll see how they go. And then obviously they came with CDUs, capacitive discharge units, which I don't normally look to buy because I can make my own, but time you bought, because capacitors and a Vero board, there's not a lot in it second hand to buy and making your own new. I think these are about 10, 12, 15 pounds depending on the capacity. Obviously you can see there's 4,000 microfarad, and let's see what these ones are, probably about the same. Yeah, so this one's obviously got double the capacity of this one, so if you had more points to switch very quickly at the same time, or multiple points depending on how you configure, if you want to swing two or you've got double slips and things, that might be the one to choose, because obviously you've got more in the tank with 4 capacitors and you have 2. But obviously you could, if you're building your own, I used to use bigger capacitors, but I think I've got a couple of Gauge Master ones kicking around. I've sort of turned up that many second hand over the period of time. I don't need to make my own now, probably. We'll see, depends on how many. I've got about 100 turnouts, so doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to use them all, but there's that available depending on how the track plan goes, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. So we're back. It's a LPG tank car, so it should go with the twin set I got, which I missed out on one. Looks like one of the placards has broke off at some stage because it's sellotaped to the box. No biggie. Got the Wolfers KD type couplings on it. So that's that one. I'll have a look off cam just to check her all over. And this one, I was watching a couple of items. It's the same seller that I bought the Bachmann ES44 from. The one that's in Camborne in Cambridgeshire. But the return address, go figure. So we have Kerno's circumventing the eBay free listings as for private sellers by declaring themselves as a private seller. I would have thought they would have been a big enough company not to worry about that, really. Obviously they don't like eBay's new rules that private sellers don't pay fees, which has been on the cards for a long while. But I'm sure eBay have got an ulterior motive to why they've done it. So, back again, after unwrapping that one, we have a magnet with brakeman. It's the Bachmann Easy Mate, but basically it's the same principle as the KD magnet. Because obviously their KD-esque coupling has a metal trip wire the same as the KD. So this is the same principle. You sink the magnet into the underside of the track bed, and obviously the poles are left and right rather than top and bottom, if that makes sense. And you've got a brakeman. I don't know what he's supposed to be holding there, a lamp. It looks quite small for HO gauge. Either that or they never fed him very well. Maybe he had rickets as a kid. So yeah, I guess he's supposed to indicate the area of the magnet. I got it for £4. Well, I think the postage was £4. I think the whole thing was only about £5. Yeah, £5 for a magnet. I think there's just the one in here. It's quite a thick magnet. But I think the RRP is about £8.95, so it was cheap. I don't know what the KD ones are, I can't remember. I do have a few of them, so basically it was just another magnet to chuck in the underside of the track. Well, last one that's outstanding, I think. I am looking at doing an order with model junction, so a bit more tape. And this one is from Furness Models. If you recall, last time I bought one from them, they I think just left it in the pile of boxes and forgot about it for about 2 weeks till I messaged them. Although he did send it on 24-hour the next day. So it's another US, get out the packaging, tank car. Be a little bit careful with these. They don't make it easy to extrude them from the packaging. Oh dear. There we go. Finally. This is a Union Carbide 23,500 gallon tank car, which again nicely detailed. It's got the very fine brass railings, and they use the same thing to the same effect for air pipes and such like. So not badly detailed, and I think he dropped the price, so it cost me about £20 all in to get this one. We're slowly getting a few tank cars, but it is a bit of a slog. They're not quite the ones I would like, but gasoline and ethanol tank cars, can't even find them new. I dread to think what they are new, but there's not even a retailer in the UK selling, you know, equivalent new ones. They're always the old-fashioned ones with the big domes, and nothing sort of 70s onwards. But we keep fishing, and occasionally we get a bite.